The ideas for how we got to this place and how the plant was built, you have to back up to the idea started in Nashville with the store selling merchandise in a retail environment, just a very small storefront to promote and sell the catalog for Third Man Records.
The pillars in here are red and white. You know, they represent the white stripes because, you know, that was, if it hadn't been for the white stripes, Jack wouldn't be in the position to do what he's done. So those are like kind of the pillars that hold everything up. The yellow is from when, before his music career took off, he had an upholstering studio. And he painted most of it yellow and black because the yellow was to match like the tools that he was using. And he's got he's still an avid upholsterer. He's got a studio down in Nashville, and he still works on it all the time and uses the tools that we took the yellow from. It started off, just as a label for Jack and Meg. Like they kind of started it so they could have creative control of, their music and the way it was presented. Jack relocated down to Nashville years ago, and so did Ben Blackwell. They were both lifelong and, still Detroiters, even though they don't live in Detroit. And they opened a brick and mortar down there, and as it grew, like they always had a plan to open a Detroit store and a dream to open a record pressing plant. And we opened here in 2015, the day after Thanksgiving.
This is an excellent example of the first presses that we bought. Our machines are set up with a smaller mold in order to do these. One operator will operate two presses on the manual side, with an extruder in between that heats up and melts the PVC, creates the small puck that we use as to go into the machine. Matt is loading his labels by hand, also placing the puck inside, and then sending the mold in, where it is now subjected to heating through our those hoses there, and then the compression of hydraulics, and then the hoses will kick in some cool water to kind of lock in the shape and make it keep it flat, and then through that cycle comes out the record that gets trimmed and then placed on the stack here, and then let to cool and cure overnight and to be visually checked in the morning. So how many can you do in an hour, Matt?
I'm going for 180 right now.
You're going, okay. In an 8-hour shift, he'll definitely hit over 1,000 with all of the dynamics involved and finding the sweet spot and the cycle time, the hydraulics, chilled water, pneumatics, everything that's working together are all the factors and the variables that we are constantly dealing with. But a good, well-tuned machine is going to, as fast as he can load it and take them out, he's good. So definitely less than a minute per record in that sense.
The history of the location that we are in here in Detroit is it's kind of centrally located in Detroit's Cass Corridor, which has always been a kind of breeding ground for musicians, poets, artists. We all cut our teeth in the Cass Corridor. When Jack was going to school, Cass Tech, which is just about a mile away, it's where like Alice Coltrane and Dorothy Ashby went to school. He would wait for the bus just on this corner. So it's a historic neighborhood, and when the opportunity came for Jack to purchase this building and open something up, he was like, of course, in the heart of the cast quarter, it makes perfect sense. So that's what we did.
So Connor is in the middle of a job right now. He's pressing white vinyl on a LP, 12-inch. I think it's a 130 gram. So the mold profile will, is according to whatever the weight of the record. We do 180 gram and 130 gram. Again, he's running his new built presses. He's running 2 at a time, simultaneously cranking out the 12-inch. They take the cycle times are slightly longer, so it's right around about a minute or so, and from beginning to end. And again, the same process of loading the machine with the labels, and then his extruder, which is heating up the material, adding that in, and then just sending it in to get steam, hydraulics, and then chilled water to cool it off. A back and forth ergonomic setup. So part of our process is setting up our machines. And for each job, we get a set of stampers, which is what I'm holding here. So this is one side of a record. This is what would go into the machine and receive the material. So this is the opposite or the photo negative of what the record will be. So what Grace is doing right now is thoroughly cleaning her mold ahead of the attaching this stamper to it. She's also making sure the stamper doesn't have any blemishes or things that also need to be cleaned off and kind of sanitized in a sense before she attaches them, eliminating any dust or particles, any contaminants that might creep their way in there. So that's always some of the variables that we are also fighting against here. So once she lines that, gets that cleaned thoroughly, she will start running her material through. So she knows ahead of time what her job is, what number, what color PVC, etc., all those details. And then from that we do a test pressing. Every job we do an initial pressing of what the metal is to make sure that we can check the audio and catch any discrepancies that might have happened in the process. We send those test pressings to the customer for their approval and wait back to hear if it's a go or not, and then we can start the job after that. So behind me is our stamper library. What we have there are a lot of our past and soon to be on press jobs. When a job gets done and completed, though, we'll save the sets and keep them on hand in case there's going to be a repressing. But we hold on to that, we categorize them, and then keep them available just like any other library. So we have them categorized according to whether they're a TMR job. So Third Man Records has their matrix, and then everybody else has their own custom matrix number and category. So if I know what I'm looking for, I got an MH job here. That means it's a modern harmonic. And then I could pull this. If I'm the operator, I come back here and I can pull my stampers for the job that I'm getting ready to put on my press. And then I just forgot where I pulled this from, so I'm just going to leave it on the front. I'll come back to it. But, and that's, like I said, for us, another unique part of what we're doing is Jack has brought back the idea of a record label having their own pressing plant, like it was in the old days. So what that original intention was for us to just press Third Man Records. But as soon as we opened our doors, the third party and just everybody just kind of started lining up out the door wanting their record pressed here. And so now it's a balance of those two, which is a great problem to have. So again, we'll press records for anybody, whether it's the band down the street, getting their very first 7-inch, right up until all of the big names and the heavy hitters in the business, and those numbers and jobs that are just getting bigger and bigger every day. So we're standing outside of the audio QC booth, which is in proximity to our presses. Our audio QC guys and gals have kind of trained themselves or listening to vinyl and have that relationship with a press operator in real time, that they're actually checking their work as they're doing it. So they'll randomly grab records throughout the day, roughly every 25th or 30th record or so, and just kind of go around to each press, try to listen to it from front to back, but also pick up on any things that might change or fluctuate during the process. It was a good thing when we bought the manuals. The manual machines have an advantage that the fully automatics don't fully have. And one of that being the custom colors, but also the combinations that we can do. So the things like our split colors and what we're known for as our tricolors, those can only really be done on a manual. So we have some samples here of some of the special projects that we've done, not all of them, but some of the experiments that we've done with the different compounds and just, you know, what came out of the machine after that. So to us, we have, I think, the best of both worlds. We have the fully automatics for our volume, but then we can customize and still crank out a lot of records, but we can do them with much more exclusive in mind as far as the output, and be able to kind of customize things for the customer. This is a special thing we did just recently, the first time we had tried a laminated record. So we did, these are actual leaves. This is something called the marijuana I read about one time. So it gives you an idea of some of the different things you can do. But mainly what we've gotten really good at is when we do our own, like tricolors, everything goes around the number 3. So things like that have a nice clean cut, even colors are really, you know, they're unique. But it's also very tricky because you have to have 3 different extruders making 3 different colors, taking each puck, cutting it, and then putting it back together, throwing it in a machine. So they're actually hand cut as they're being extruded. We are in the visual QC area of Third Man Pressing, and we are taking the records that were made from the prior shift or the prior day that have been sitting overnight, cooling and curing thoroughly. And now we're going to go take apart the spindles. We're going to look at them one at a time, front to back, and just start checking off our list of the things that we're just looking for and confirming that what the operator sent us is their best. And so the gentlemen behind me are checking those records right now. The 7-inch for our vault program, we are doing a box set of 7-inch multicolored discs of Primus, and the receptions have been really great, that people that have signed up for it. So we're excited to get this one in the box and out the door and mailed to people's homes.
We, you know, press records for us, for Third Man, and for, you know, little bedroom punk rock labels and major labels, and which is pretty crazy that we do that. But we have events here, we have shows here that we can, you know, record direct to acetate, just like cut it live. You know, if you're going to listen to a live record, I think that's the way to do it. You know, that's cool.
We're in the studio at Third Man Mastering today with cutting engineer and mastering engineer Warren DeFever.
We do live shows on the stage, which is in the other part of the building that you can't see from here. So we've got a camera up and we can watch the show on the screen. Because a lot of times you don't know if the baritone sax player is going to take his microphone and start pointing at the conga player. So you have to watch it on the screen. We get a separate feed from the what is it, a PV board out there, into the Neve, which sounds really good. And so we're doing our own separate mix in here while there's a live show.
But it's a split, yeah.
We back up everything to the 2-inch tape machine here, which a lot of tape machines, if you got 2 inches, you think it's 24 tracks. You see the 24 tracks there. It's not 24 tracks, it's 8 tracks. Jack White invention. What if each track was really 3 tracks, triple wide, deep dish, tons of bass, super greasy. So it's a 2-inch 8-track machine. Chris often fixes this when it breaks during a show.
It's true.
And but it's a Studer 800. It's pretty incredible. And I don't know if you see the tape reels here. We have official Third Man tape hubs. That's a lot of studios don't have their own tape hubs. We have our own. But yeah, 2-inch tape, thick, greasy, deep dish. It's only caught on fire during 2 shows. One was when the MC5 did a 50th anniversary of the recording of their first album. Exactly 50 years later. Is it 50?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
MC50.
Yeah. So it was called the MC50, and Wayne Kramer, and a bunch of people, blah, blah, blah. And, but it did catch on fire, but it kept going. It was like, well, it's still rolling. Let's just see what happens. And it was fine.
Right.
Yeah. And then there was a Jack White show where he didn't want to do a sound check. There's 400 people out there. We had about
It was like 600 people.
30 seconds to get a rough mix, you know, and there was going to be cutting a lacquer, and it was totally insane. But then during the end of the show, of course, the tape machine catches on fire. The room is filled with smoke. We're laying on the floor, but it's like, I think it's still rolling. We're just almost through the set. Let's see what happens. And it was fine. So someone should really fix that.
Well, let's talk about some gear. So some pretty heavy hitter pieces in here.
If you were to break in here at night and steal stuff, these are probably the most expensive, the esoteric audio. It's sort of like a Fairchild. Fairchild for a long time in the 70s and 80s, people thought they were uncool. Okay, they were cheap. You could get a Fairchild compressor for hundreds of dollars, not tens of thousands of dollars. And what Esoteric did was basically take the Fairchild design and say, what if it was more tweakable? So in the 90s, they sort of came up with this system, and it's basically like the world's best Fairchild.
Right.
Which is excellent. And then the other extremely rare piece of gear, this is a 4-channel Sontec 432 parametric EQ. It's the first parametric EQ ever made. It's one of the first 10 that Sontec ever made, and it's 4 channels because for cutting lacquers, you send it a stereo preview and a stereo program channel. So, but everything that goes through this just sounds like someone's pouring liquid gold into your ears. And it has just this beautiful and goldenating quality, you know, huge transformers. It's just incredible.
It's not passive.
No, no. So that's, I would steal one of those 2 things if I were to break in here at night. Not that I'm suggesting that people do that.
I feel like it's secure enough here. You don't have to worry about.
Yeah, but if there was like a fire, those are the 2 things that I'm like trying to get under my arm here. The lathe is immovable.
Yeah, you can't.
The Neve, immovable. But these, you take those with you. This is the Sal rack. It's basically the computer. And so in 1974, this was a computer, and it does nothing that an app in your phone couldn't do for 99 cents. What's interesting is the acceleration limiter, which acts as a compressor of just high frequencies. But what it does is actually physically slows down the movement of the cutting head while it's cutting, so it's not able to cut the high frequencies as quickly. And when you hear that sound, you realize that's one of the things that makes a record sound like a record. It's pretty great. And then, so when you're cutting a record, basically you're limited to, I don't know, 3.5 inches of space. And you've got 300, 400 lines to fit all the songs in there. And so the thing that I complain about is one of the standards with vinyl is that when you listen to one side and you flip it over, you expect the second side to be the same volume. That's normal.
Right.
But you're cutting both sides totally separately. And the volume of a record is determined by 3 factors: the length of the side, the amount of compression, and the amount of bass. Bass frequencies are wider, they have excursions, they take up more space. A lot of bands, they put the good songs on side A, the songs they've edited, the songs they've arranged, they spent the most time on. A lot of times from doing this for 10,000 records, you realize the B-side is where they put the long blues jams, the songs with 15, 30-second fade-outs. So often the B-side is longer than the A-side. What does that mean? Is you've got these perfect hits written on side A, they're all 3.5 minutes exactly, there's tight intros, choruses, it's all really dialed in, but the volume of that side, we've brought down 3 dB because the B-side has the long freak out that goes for 26 minutes, and it's very sad when we see this happen. And so recently there was I don't want to name any names, a Bob Dylan record. It was a box set, it was 4 sides, and they're all perfectly, the lengths were all really well matched, except for one side was 5 minutes longer than the other sides. So one of the challenges is dialing that in and trying to make it match well. A couple times we've worked on, we've done lacquer cuts for records that George Martin from, the Abbey Road, the Beatles, whatever.
You're like dismissive, like
The Beatles,
Martin.
you've heard the Beatles. Anyways,
Yeah,
Sir George Martin. He was a knight, apparently.
Yeah.
He would give you a record, and it's really dialed in. He knew how to make records. So if one side was 24 minutes and the other side was 19 minutes, the side that's 24 minutes has a couple ballads. The songs aren't as compressed. It flows to the exact same lines per inch as the 19-minute side. Where are those people now? Who's the new George Martin?
I don't know.
We're counting on you, Chris. It's up to you.
I
You
do
got to
not-
try harder.
I do not accept that challenge.
There's no fast way to make records, so there are built-in delays from every step of the way, and that makes it that much more of a handcrafted product that we're making for people. Our yield rate is very, very high, and we've gotten really good at making really good records, and just from the feedback that we've also gotten from not just the collectors, but even the audiophiles that appreciate that we're taking a lot of extra steps, and we're really, everyone that works here wants to make really good records.
I think the main goal is really to preserve the heritage and, get people stoked on records and music as we were when we were kids. I think that's the main thing that we're all striving for.